There's two halves to a person that works. Their technical ability and their personality. The personality part of it is way more important. Hiring the right person as opposed to the right technical ability is more important. G'day, Lou from Elgas here. Today I'm going to talk about hiring people for your business. So what we traditionally do when someone leaves or we're growing and we need another person is we, as an accounting firm at least anyway, and most people are the same, is you go and put an ad on Seek and you describe the sort of person you want and their technical ability, and then you get hopefully flooded with a whole lot of resumes. And typically what you do is you look at the resumes and go, that person can do the job, that person probably wouldn't be able to, and you use that as your filter. And then you might do a telephone interview, and then you might do a face-to-face interview, and you might do another face-to-face interview if you're quite serious about the process, and then you'll do some reference checks and a psych test, and eventually you end up potentially hiring someone. Now, through that whole process, what I think is pretty funny is that our first filter is about the resume, when in fact the resume just tells us what the person can do, usually just from a technical point of view. The reality is it's far more important to employ the right person. Now, going to the extreme in our industry, the resume look fine, but they might be an embezzler. I'm just sort of kidding, really. But you know nothing about a person by reading their resume. That's the point. So the telephone interview is a good starting point. That'll screen out a few because selecting an employee is all about selecting out the right person, so filtering out the ones that don't fit. The first face-to-face interview is really important, and I don't want to put too much pressure on potential employees, but that first interview is as much about the employee getting comfortable with the employer and vice versa. So what you're looking for in the first meeting is not to work out whether their resume is actually correct or not. It's really working out whether that person is going to fit in with your business, fit in with your culture. Because we all hear stories about employees that come into businesses, they might have worked really well in another business, but they sabotage your business because they're just not a fit for the culture. So that's the first thing, the first tip, is to really make sure you hire the right person for your business. If you hire the right person and their technical skills aren't quite there, then they can probably learn them if they've got the right attitude. The second thing that's really important is they sort of coupled up with the first person. If they're the right person, they should fit in with your team. If you're hiring using the same sort of criteria, you should end up with a team full of similar sorts of people with different skills. So make sure that you're confident they can fit in with the team, and one thing you can do there is in perhaps the second interview is have a couple of alternate team members sit in on the interview, perhaps even you're outside of it, and just make sure that the right feel comes back out of the interview about the person. And then the third thing to do, once you've assessed they're the right person and they'll fit in with your team, then make sure the resume is actually who the person is technically. That's important, but not the deal breaker. I think the deal breaker is point one. So then you do your reference checks and make sure the person is who they say they are based on their resume. And I think really they're the three main things that you look for when you're employing someone. If you'd like some help with employing people, please get in touch with us at Elgas. Cheers, bye.